Yeah, this is gonna be fun. So if you tuned into the previous stream, this is like really casual, just sort of hanging out and practicing and answering your questions, most importantly. So if you have a question, be sure to put that in the chat, and I should be able to see it, and I will answer it. Right now, before we get started, if you could just say like hello or sounds good if you can actually hear me, that would be good to know. And of course, we'll be playing some. And I actually started without my read even on because I want to show you sort of exactly how I start right from the very beginning, getting into playing. Let's see. I have to figure out how to pull up the chat. I think it will come up automatically when somebody types something in, but I just want to make sure that I can check on it occasionally to make sure I'm not missing anything. There it is. Cool. So let me turn on this light real quick too. That might make a tiny difference. But yeah, let me throw on my read. So I'm breaking in some new reads. I have a lot of performances coming up in October, so I need to have some reads that are going to work. So I'm breaking in some new ones. So this one is on like day 3 or so of playing. So I'm going to sort of talk about my break-in process a little bit. I don't do anything too crazy or too fancy. Basically, I just play it a little bit each day, and I'll do maybe a little bit longer every time, just so it gets used to vibrating and being a reed. And when a reed is new, the sort of pores on it are really, really open, and I don't want to get it like too soggy and play too much that all of the liquid like soaks really deep into the reed. That's when reeds sort of feel waterlogged, and I find that they break down more quickly. So basically the only thing in my warm-up process is that I just play them a little bit each day so that they don't get too waterlogged right away. And once the sort of outside pores start to break down a little bit and seal, then it's good to go and won't soak in the water so deep. At least that's my understanding of it, or sort of my thought process. I've never done any like truly scientific experiments to see if that's the case, but this one's been going for a few days, so I'm going to play some on it. First, I'm just going to play some notes to test it out. Then maybe I'll do long tones on this reed, technique on the next one, and articulation on the last one for my 3-step warm-up. I have 3 reeds I'm breaking in, so that's a good sort of way to time out just a little bit of time on each reed. And again, if you have any questions about breaking in reeds in general, any clarinet or music stuff, just throw that out there, and there we go. So that's just like first sounds for the day, making sure that I remember how to play the instrument. Now I'm going to do some long tones to like really get the sound going, really pay attention to how I sound, and figure out how it feels to get my best sound for today. So you can hear as I'm doing this sort of first initial long tones, I'm really experimenting a lot. I'm really holding all the notes really, really long, because I want to like get the best sound that I can right away, and sometimes it's easier to do that when I play a little louder, trying more air support, different embouchure things, and just really trying to get my very, very best sound all the time on these notes. And then once I can get a really strong foundation where that first note is sounding excellent, then I can transition it more easily to the next notes as I go. Okay, I feel like I've sort of settled into how things are going to sound. Now I want to make sure that I get really, really good transitions as well. So I was hearing a little bit of like a thud as I made that transition. So I was experimenting different like finger coordination timings, and I discovered that my thumb was moving too slow. I think that's what fixed it. So I'll try moving my thumb faster. Yep, the thumb did it. This is interesting too because I can see myself practicing, sort of like I have a mirror, and I'm noticing that my corners are wanting to be a little bit back. So that's something that I can really be thinking about is getting those corners forward. But yeah, I think that's enough playing for this read. So let's go on to the next read. And these first three reads I'm breaking in, and then I'll be on to sort of a regular read. I think I have, in my case, left are all playable reads, so they should all be pretty decent. It's also a little bit cold in here, so I'm gonna just go ahead and swab because I have time while I wet this reed anyways. But when it's a little bit colder, first of all, you want to make sure that you warm up the outside of the instrument a little bit, like either just with your hands or like your armpits is a common way to do it. Just so that you're not playing a super cold instrument, because when the instrument's cold and you're putting a lot of hot air through it, that's when cracking and things like that can happen. So there's that. And then, yeah, when it's colder too, the condensation builds up faster. Does anybody have any questions? Cool. Feel free, like, any questions that you have about anything at any time, just throw them in there. All right, so I'm good with long tones. This is a new reed, so I'm gonna do some reed testing thing and sort of make sure that I can sound good on this reed, see how it feels to play this particular reed, and then I'll do some technique exercises. Yeah, interesting. I think this read felt worse the past 2 days than the first read I was on, but I think today it's feeling better. That's not abnormal. As you're breaking in reads, they'll adjust a little bit or change a little bit. But I like when they get better. That's a good thing. For the technique, I guess I should say the long tones too. I was doing Christmas tree long tones is what I call them. It's just a really simple chromatic pattern. I think for technique, I'm going to do some of the Albert book. This is taking me back to my undergrad warm-up routine. I haven't done Albert in quite a while, and I was thinking that I kind of want to do some of those patterns. Let me pick a good key. I think I'll do, maybe I'll do A major. A major is kind of nice, middle ground. I'm going to be working on the Barrio sequenza in a bit, and it's certainly not tonal and certainly not in A major, but some of the runs in there kind of are A major-ish, so that might be a nice key to warm up. Oh, that was the Class A pattern, not the Albert. You can tell I've been practicing a lot more Class A than Albert lately. That's funny. Yeah, and now that I'm got it kind of going, I think I'm going to do it with a metronome as well. I have a Soundbrenner core for my metronome, so you won't actually be able to hear it, which I think is nice, because I think sometimes, especially listening to recordings, hearing the clacking of the metronome can be annoying. So I'll just do the vibrating one. Let's see. I'm going to go like a nice comfortable speed. I haven't done these in a while. Just want to do them really relaxed. Let's say maybe like 80. Really comfortable. Yeah, Lillian asked what my watch is. It's the Soundbrenner Core. Soundbrenner is they have a metronome app and they have a couple different products. They have the Pulse, which is just a vibrating metronome. The Core is like the little bit fancier one where it actually functions as a watch too, and you can connect it with your phone and get like notifications on it. It's not quite a smartwatch, but it's a kind of in between. But it vibrates, which is cool. I probably, if I put it against my phone, you can probably hear it. It's vibrating in time. Yeah, it's pretty neat. I'm gonna do the little ascending scale pattern one more time. I feel like I'm really comfortable with the notes. I was starting to think about the fingers, but I'm gonna work on making the fingers more precise and more relaxed. I think they were pretty okay with precision, but not as relaxed as they could be. Yeah, let me see. I think I can change the angle here so you can actually see all of my fingers. That might be cool. There we go. Yeah, I'm not quite centered with the metronome. With the vibrating metronome, for me personally, I actually sometimes have a hard time following it. I think I'm so used to listening to the metronome, maybe that's part of it. But I do feel like this could be beneficial, so I do want to get comfortable with it, which has taken a while. And you can hear it's going fine, but I'm going to do this pattern one more time to really get it completely precise, totally comfortable, totally even, and great sound quality on every single note, or at least as best as I can. I think that's enough technique stuff, at least on that scale, at least on this reed, because I don't want the reed to get too soggy. So I'm going to go over to my last reed I'm breaking in. On the first few days when I'm breaking in a reed, I'll leave it out to dry out a little bit because I do soak it a little bit more just to get it wet enough that it will vibrate and be a reed. Today they didn't get too wet. It could be just a drier day too, so just pulling it off is pretty dry. So I don't feel like it needs to dry out a ton outside of the case. But definitely with new reeds, I don't ever want to put them in the case too sopping wet, because then again, they'll just have more saliva to sit in and soak up and get more waterlogged. But yeah, they were feeling good to just put away. And I'll go ahead and swab it again, because why not? It's better to swab early and often to keep the keys from getting spitty. Okay, and on this one, I'm going to do a little bit of articulation. I should say too, so this is actually pretty much my normal break-in routine, is where I'll have 3 reeds. The first day or two, I'll do like half of Christmas Tree or half of whatever long tones on one reed and then the half on the other reed, and then just a little bit of scales and stuff. Or even I'll just do like reed testing on the first day just to play it a little bit, get it vibrating, but again, not get it too soggy, and definitely let it dry out on the first day, so again, that it's not absorbing too much water. As I go, usually by like the 3rd day, I'll do each section of my warm-up on them for about a week, and then about after that, I say they're good. And I'll rotate through them too. So like the first reed that I use today will not be the first reed that I use tomorrow, so that they're getting exposure to all the different things, because articulation on a reed as you're breaking it in is very different than long tones on a reed, and even technique stuff on a reed is different than long tones or articulation. So I want all of the reeds to get around to all of the different things as I'm breaking them in. I don't know if it makes any difference at all, but I feel like if I articulate on a reed every single time that it's being broken in, then that reed might get beat up faster. I don't know, just crazy reed stuff that we have fun dealing with. But anyways, I'm going to do an articulation exercise. I feel like today, and just not really in general lately, but today in particular, I don't feel like I have great control over the sound yet. So I'm going to do an articulation exercise that's actually a little bit more focused on sound control. So what I'm going to do is just practice starting some notes and just like getting them to come out really clearly, and then maybe doing some staccato on them as well to get everything like clean, clear, and consistent. But of course I have to start with a reed test to feel this reed out. So I'm really just like experimenting a little bit with tongue position, sort of tuning into like what's the most clear and clean tongue motion, tongue shape, all of that good stuff. feels pretty good. And you can see like that was by no means a real or like written out articulation exercise anywheres. I was almost doing my like read test kind of thing, just going around to different notes and making them all sound good, and really just doing it in a sort of experimental way and just really focusing on the tongue motion. That's what makes it an articulation exercise, is because I was focused on the tongue. The notes I'm playing don't matter at all. But yeah, that's that. I think I was really happy with that, actually. I think I'm going to do a little bit of, maybe now more of a structured articulation exercise, just to try to apply the good articulation I'm getting to sort of a more normal pattern, where instead of me just articulating how it feels good, I need to actually make the music happen a certain way. I also feel like I want to get my fingers warmed up a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is a chromatic pattern and just do like a slur to tongue to articulation pattern while playing through notes of the chromatic scale. And I'll flip around the articulation just for fun. Yeah, and that's, I think, a good amount for this read, good amount of articulation. I'm feeling pretty good about my articulation, feeling good about my fingers. Yeah, and I think the sound quality is pretty good too. I'm actually pleasantly surprised by this read and the read before this one. I think they're better than they were yesterday, which is nice. And now I'm on to a normal read. This is a broken in read, so I won't have to change it out so much. I'm not good about doing this. You should probably, even when you're playing on a broken in read, you should still probably change reads every like 30 minutes to an hour as you practice. Some people do it more. I usually do it less. Usually I just have my read and throw it on and play it for the day. But then it gets to rest a long time because I rotate through all like 12 or so of my reads. So I'll play it one day and then it'll be like 12 days before I get to it again. Unless it's a good read and all my other reads are bad, then I'll play it more. Does anybody have any questions? Definitely let me know if you're enjoying this. Looks like we have a few consistent people hanging out, which is fun. Oh, I should swab again too. Yeah, it's a slobbery day. I think because it's a little bit cool. It might actually be kind of humid too. It's been raining a lot, so that could contribute as well. Does anybody have any interesting clarinet stuff going on in your world? Anything fun that you're working on? Any performances coming up? I'm really a little nervous and very excited to get back to performing. This month I have 2 pretty big performances. On October 15th, I'm doing a concerto grosso with a university, and at the end of October, I'm playing the Barrio Sequenza on a concert. So I did an outdoor performance in May. I did a Zoom concert in March, I think, and a studio concert in January. And I think that might be all the music that I've played since like the start of this year. So I haven't done a like in a concert hall performance in a really long time, since February, I think, of 2020. So this will be fun. It'll be interesting to get back into things. Does anybody else have any in-person performances or other performances coming up? It'd be fun to hear about them and what everybody else is working on. So I'm just going to jump right into the Barrio Sequenza. I'm feeling decent about this. I think it's at a point where I can play it all, and I can play it straight through. I've been practicing playing it straight through to sort of get the endurance and just get the feel for how it's going to go. I think what it really needs is just like control of all of the technical bits, like always feeling like I know what notes I'm playing and how I'm playing them, and also a good feel for the general musical flow and the musicality to it. I think this piece really it's a really dense piece and really hard to sort of comprehend just listening to it for most listeners, including myself. I don't love listening to this piece, but I think if you can play it in the right way, I think it can be effective. So I'm really working on figuring out how to play this in a way that like the audience can enjoy listening to it, which is challenging, in addition to actually just playing the right notes and rhythms, which is challenging enough on its own too, and the dynamics. So I'm going to start with some technical spots that I know are technically challenging, and then I'll go from there. So I'm going to start with all of the little super fast runs. There's a lot of just little bleh, bleh, and they need some work to get going well. And this will be a great way to sort of continue warming up the fingers. Make sure this reed works. So I'm pretty happy with how that's going. There's some notes in the middle that I feel like I'm leaving out, so I'm just going to slow it down so I can really get them. I need to balance the diminuendo with also hearing all the notes. This one comes up like all throughout the piece, so I want to maybe break it down a little bit more and make sure that I really have it down. That's pretty good. I'm going to do a few dotted rhythms just to like keep getting it in there, really getting it properly into the brain. And notice when I'm going slower, I don't know if this comes across super well, but I'm really trying to be moving the fingers as quickly as I can, really snappy with the fingers, relaxed but snappy, so that I'm used to moving my fingers as fast as I need to when it eventually goes fast. Yeah, I'm very happy with how that's going. It's feeling good today. Usually with things like this, the earlier in the day, like after I've warmed up and have the fingers comfortable and moving with the technique stuff, it usually goes better when I start, and then as I continue practicing, I get tired. But yeah, I'm just sort of skipping through and grabbing all of these little blah, blah, blah things so that I can get them in my fingers. These are very similar to the one that I just did, and pretty much most of them for like most of the piece are very similar to that one, with little exceptions. So I'm really focusing on the notes that are different and the way that the pattern is manipulated. But I'm relatively confident, especially at this point, that I can wiggle the fingers as fast as I need to. Yeah, it's especially this F sharp to A is tricky, so I sort of worked on just that much and then adding a note before it to really get it in context so that I'm really always, always, always getting that transition. Yeah, these are feeling good today. This is nice. And of course, like, if you have any questions about how I'm practicing, what I'm doing, or anything else, let me know. You could even ask questions about me, like, how long have I been playing, and fun things like that. Let's get on to the next section of fast doodly doodlies. You can also see that I really do a lot of repetitions, and today's is actually going pretty well. So if it wasn't going this well, I'd probably be doing even more repetitions on each one. But yeah, the fingers are working today, which is nice. as I'm doing this, it may sound like it's just blah, 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 which is kind of how it sounds, kind of how it looks, kind of how it's really tempting to play it that way. But I'm really trying to get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Really have like the right number of notes and be consciously in control of all of them. That's what makes it sound really clean and really in control, is when you're actually comprehending every note and truly playing every single note. So what I did there is I'm just breaking down one of the little chunks that's giving me the most trouble, where I feel like I want to rush through them and my fingers aren't quite confident in keeping track of all of those notes. So I'm just breaking down the little chunk so that I can really get it in my brain that those are the notes I'm playing. Yeah, that's a good example of like doing the dotted rhythms didn't go smoothly right away because I wasn't really in control of all of the notes. And that's just a great way to really like expose that and make sure that you are truly comfortable with them. And notice that I'm still really doing the dynamics with this, so that I'm training my brain that as I do these fingers, as I do these rhythms, that the dynamics go with it and the musicality goes with it. You can hear it's much more confident. It's feeling more confident to me as well. I'm going to put together this little bit bigger section with all of these fast notes because it's all the same run. So I'll just make sure that I can get it in all its variations. Yeah, that was pretty good. I'll do it one more time just to be sure. Let me double check the tempo here too. Ya ya ba dee ya ba dee ya ba dee ba ba doo ba ba doo ba dee ba ba doo ba ba doo ba dee. ding, ding, ding. Unfortunately, you can't really do this with the metronome because a lot of these runs are like as fast as you can runs that don't really fit with the metronome, and sometimes trying to get them to fit with the metronome just sort of throws everything off a little bit. So I'm just getting the parts that are a real rhythm, really getting that in my ears so that I can do it that rhythm when I have to play it. Oops. Oops. Yeah, this is a little bit slower than I want it to be, so I need to remember to like lock this in at the slower tempo. This part is a bit more in time, so I can't actually do it with the metronome. So this is an interesting part where we have 30-second notes here at 60 beats per minute, and then right after this it's still 30-second notes but bumps up to 72 beats per minute. So I'm trying to be really deliberate and diligent about hitting these 30-second notes exactly at 60 so that I have room to speed up, because if I rush through these 30-second notes, then trying to play the next 30-second notes faster is going to be a train wreck. It's also hard because the 30-second notes are preceded by a like 9-tuplet or just a fast as you can run. It's let's see if I can do this, like if I can show the music. So it's not a real like 9-tuplet, non-tuplet. I don't know how you'd say that, but it's not actually written as a rhythm. The little slash, if you can see, it might be confusing because it might be showing up backwards. I'm not sure. Let me see if I can unmirror. Can somebody in the comments, actually, if you're watching, can you tell me is this forwards or backwards? Because it's probably really annoying to watch me practice if it's mirrored too with my fingers. But anywho, that's the notation. That's what it looks like. So when it's a run of notes with a little slash through the stems in the beginning, that means that it's as fast as you can, within reason, so that we can still hear all of the notes. So that's why this part's a little tricky, because it's 9 notes as fast as you can, and then 30-second notes right at 60 beats per minute. So that's tricky. Yeah, Lillian, it looks like it's good, so that my right hand is on bottom, as it should be. Oh, here comes the spit. I'm actually going to swab real quick just so that too much doesn't build up. Again, it's a particularly condensation heavy day, it feels like. So I don't want to be too juicy. Anybody have any questions? Okay. Yeah, this part works a lot better when I don't panic and go too fast. Now we're into the next part that does actually go faster. Not bad, not bad. I've been practicing this section a lot, so it's starting to get there. Yeah, it's actually feeling good. I'm feeling like I can like really hit the metronome and be on time and still feel relatively relaxed, which is the goal. And that just comes from slow practicing where you're in control, gradually speeding it up and always feeling that sense of ease. Good. The real trick here too is getting like the grace notes or the, it's again that as fast as possible notation, getting those runs up into it. Not bad. What I'm going to do is I'm going to knock down the metronome just a bit so that it's easier and I can really comprehend all the notes. Yeah, it doesn't feel that much slower. Let's turn the metronome down a lot. I want to be careful not to do this at the 60 beats per minute so that I don't get used to that speed. So I'm going to go much slower than that. important thing about going the slower speed is to still be like dead even, really keeping track of the rhythm, so that you're getting used to that feeling of keeping track of the rhythm, because that's the feeling that we want when we're going fast. Okay, that's pretty good. Now I'm going to go just a bit, or like a significant bit faster, but not quite tempo. Not bad. Now I'm going to bump up the tempo. Let's just go all the way to tempo. So these are really big leaps that I'm making. I wouldn't normally like recommend doing it that way. I've practiced this a lot and I feel pretty comfortable at tempo. It's just like 10% more confidence needed at tempo. So I feel more comfortable doing these bigger leaps. If it didn't feel as comfortable at the full tempo, then I would take more increments and go more gradually as I speed up. Nice. Now the whole section one more time with the metronome for the faster speed. Yeah, I'm feeling roughly comfortable with this. Again, it's maybe not quite performance ready, but very close to performance ready. I think the key that I've discovered, and this is sort of like a mental note as I come back to this, and like sort of the key to making this feel comfortable, is to really settle back into the tempo after the fast run sort of pickup. So the blah, 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 like play that as fast as possible as indicated, but then really grab the 30-second notes again. I think if I can get that, then it'll go smoothly. Yeah, once I can like grab onto the 30-second notes, then it's no problem. Cool. Now I'm going to go back to the start of this section where it's at 60 beats per minute. Double check what that is on the metronome, and then I'm going to try doing it at the 2 different tempos and sort of as it will be in performance. Oh, so close, so close. I lost track just a little bit, and then it got off the rails. Close. Okay, I think I'm going to leave that section for now. I think I've tortured myself on it enough. And go on to the next section. The next section is potentially the worst section for me. This is the section that I always struggle with when I'm doing a full run through of it. So I'm gonna start by getting the as fast as you can notes, since that's sort of what I've been doing. This section gets tricky because some of them change up a little bit. So that's the issue there. And I am going to take just a quick little swab break. Also rest my brain a little bit from all the fast finger wiggling. Anybody have any questions about anything? Clarinet, music, me, other things that I may or may not know anything about? Definitely, if you're enjoying this, hit the little thumbs up thing so I know that it's fun for you. In the description, I sort of talk about the purpose of this. It's all about getting the watch time up on YouTube so that I can get into the partners program, which I'm quite close to. It's also about having fun and answering your questions and just hanging out. So if you enjoy hanging out, listening to me practice, if it inspires you to go practice, then that's awesome. But yeah, let me know how you're liking it. Hit the like button, and I might do more of these. I might do more of these even after I make the watch time needed. If they're fun, I'm having a good time with them. And if it's beneficial for you, then I'm happy to do it. Okay, next section, but just the fast noodlies. I just noticed as I'm doing this, my finger position's not really good and my hand position's not the like most optimal that it should be. So I'm gonna do it a little slower so that I can get that, because I bet these notes will work better if I'm using the best hand position and using the best finger motion. Okay. I think this section's feeling pretty good, at least in terms of the fast noodlies. So now let's put it together. And I'm definitely going to do this with the metronome because I always want to go too fast through here. Even though the metronome, again, makes it a little bit tricky to do the fastest possible sections. I kind of have a system figured out where I just make the fastest possible, like, happen in 1/8 note. And it more or less works out with the metronome. I really need to lock in with the metronome. You know what I'm actually going to do to demonstrate a good practice technique, and because I need it, I'm just going to finger through it. When I'm not worried about playing, it's a little bit easier to comprehend where the metronome is and really stick with it. This is also a tricky page turn. Notice as I was doing that with just fingering through with the metronome, I was still like kind of airplaying. I was partially doing that just so you could kind of hear the notes a little bit and it wasn't just me clacking my fingers around. But I do find it's also really helpful when just fingering through to actually set your embouchure, whether you blow or not, because that's how it's going to feel for your fingers when you're actually playing. Doing it without like resting the fingers anywhere feels very different because the instrument's going to wiggle around a lot because you don't have the support of your embouchure. A lot of times people will finger through and like set it on your knees, but that's again a little bit different support than what it's going to be, especially for me because I'm going to be performing this standing up. So I need to get used to how this feels when I'm wiggling my fingers. Now let's try playing it and see if I can stay with the metronome. Oh, I didn't have my page turn prepared properly. That was the problem there. I'm gonna actually just go right from the beginning of this section again. I don't think there's really necessarily anything in particular that's an issue. There might be one thing that I might isolate and do if I don't get it this time. It's so close that I think I can get it with another shot. But be careful as you're practicing to not fall into that trap too often where you're like, if I just do it again, I'll get it. If I just do it again, I'll get it. And you end up doing many, many repetitions where it's not quite comfortable and not quite right. And that's going to cause problems in your learning. And you'll end up learning to do it the wrong way with those mistakes rather than really getting it. So I think I can do it. And if I don't get it this next time, then I'm going to break some things down and isolate further so that I'm always doing it correct and getting as many correct repetitions as I can. Oh, so close. And that's the end of that section. So I'll stop there. Oh, it's really, really close. I think there's just a couple spots to sort of clean up. And I almost have this section. And that was with the metronome. And I feel like I was actually staying with the metronome pretty well, which is also a great sign. If you can play with the metronome and sort of perform sticking with the metronome the whole time, then that's a great sign that you're going to be in good shape when you actually have to perform it. So the things, I think the little was going really well, but before it, there's this sort of gradually increasing articulation thing, and I think when I do the articulation into the, I have some issues with that. So I'm gonna re-isolate the little fast things. Those things that I've already isolated, but now I'm going to add the little section before it. This is actually a really good rule of thumb too. Like, it's great to isolate it and really get it, but you want to practice the transitions. I call that the integrate part of the 3 I's of practicing. Identify that the is hard, isolate it and improve it. So maybe 4 I's, but you isolate and improve it by simplifying it, slowing it down, doing dotted rhythms, doing all that good stuff to improve it, and then integrate it. And I think that's the part that I tried integrating it by doing just the whole page, but I think I need to integrate it by doing some stuff around it to get it flowing together. Yeah, Richard asked, is the tactile metronome, the new tech, can you turn it on? Whoop. Can you turn it on its audibility for us? Yeah. So it just vibrates this one, but it does connect with the app on my phone, so I could have it sync up with like the Audible one. I could turn the metronome on if you want to hear the metronome that I'm hearing, just for the sake of hearing it. Sometimes I find it to be kind of annoying to listen to both, but it is kind of helpful to maybe hear how I'm going. So maybe I'll do this page again with that going. And then you also asked, does it help for... Would it help to play with the piano part? Do you mean like, what do you mean by would it help to play with the piano part? Does the tactile metronome help for playing with the piano part? Or would practicing a piece help to play with the piano part? I'll answer both of those questions actually. So the vibrating metronome is helpful for playing with other people, but just in the same way that any metronome is helpful for playing with other people. Because you want to make sure that you're playing in time and the metronome helps you to play in time. As far as playing with the piano part, if you're talking about a piece that you're working on that has like piano accompaniment and playing with a recording, that can also be really helpful, where you're sort of practicing following the recording and playing along. Playing with the recording is not always exactly the same as playing in real life. In real life, when you're playing with other people, you have to do some leading, and in a recording it's all about just following, especially if you're the soloist with the pianist. Like your accompanist needs some leadership from you to help follow, so it's not exactly the same as just playing with the recording. That being said, playing with the recording can be great to get the piano part in your ear and to sort of follow along with. In this particular case, this is the Barrio Sequenza, which doesn't have a piano part because it's just solo clarinet, so I can't play with the piano part. I hope that answered that question. If you have follow-up questions, yeah, just put them in the chat. Cool. So I'm gonna do the little bits. Yeah, Lisa says that you can link the sound burners together. Yeah, that's fun. I got this like right before COVID started, unfortunately. I was really looking forward to practicing with my reed quintet, because a lot of times when we're playing, we can't hear the metronome over all of us playing. So we're like, I think it was with the metronome, but like being able to feel it would be a way to know if we actually were. And yeah, it does sync up, so I could just turn the metronome off just by clicking my thing without having to do all the shenanigans. But I'm actually going to practice the speeding up articulation into the fast as possible. I'm actually going to do this without the metronome because it's not actually really rhythmically in time. not playing all of the notes in that one. And this was the one other bit that I'm not quite comfortable with, so I'm gonna practice it. And it has another blah, so it makes sense. Keep playing that wrong. Cool. And Richard, I think it was Richard. Yeah, Richard, if you're still here, now I'll do it the whole page with the metronome just so you can hear it. So the written tempo is 72 for the quarter note, but I'm going to set my metronome to 144 so that I have the eighth note subdivision. This piece too is like very like there's no meter, there's no bar lines, so it works a lot better on pieces like that to do an eighth note subdivision because the not eighth note subdivision, the quarter note subdivision sometimes doesn't always land on the beat because there's some sort of like beats of 3/8 notes sort of thrown in there. It's not officially a 7/8 measure because there's no time signature, but it kind of has that effect. So having it on eighth notes is easy. So hopefully you can hear that. Hopefully I can hear that while I'm playing. So this is how I was doing it with the metronome. And I bet I'll actually be even more with the metronome, with the audible metronome, because I'm more used to that than the vibrating one. that's that with the metronome. I'm not sure how well the balance was too. If you want me to play with the metronome out loud, I certainly can, but I imagine it might be kind of annoying. I did feel a bit more confident and comfortable with the audible metronome, because again, I'm more used to that. I've spent 10 years diligently practicing with an audible metronome, and I've only had the Soundbrenner for maybe a year, and I haven't used it all that much in my practicing, because sometimes I just don't have it on or whatever, so I don't think about it, and I just use my audible metronome on my phone or whatever. So I'm still getting used to it, but I'm trying hard to get used to it, because I feel like it could be beneficial if I can stick with it. But yeah, this is going well though. I hope y'all are having fun hanging out practicing. Any other questions? Let me know. The questions are the fun part, because it's interesting to hear what you guys are hearing and thinking about. And if you have any other questions. Cool. So I think that's... actually, I'm going to do one more section. That's another little bit of a tricky section. This whole piece is a tricky section. But I think I might try doing a full run through here in a bit. I'm starting to get a little bit tired. I can feel like my face a little bit, my fingers a little bit, my brain a little bit. So I'm just sort of taking a little break here, regrouping, figuring out what I want to tackle next. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to do a couple other like technical sections that are particularly challenging, just so that I get them comfortable in my fingers. And I'm going to, like, when I'm losing focus, I end up doing bigger and bigger chunks and just like playing on. So what I'm going to try to do is not that, and actually work in smaller chunks and just really get some small isolated things. I think that'll help sort of bring my focus back together too. So yeah, I'll do that. Hey, it's great to see that you're here. I believe that's Neva. Yeah, awesome. I'm still going, and I'm still going for a little bit, and you are here for the best part, because I'm gonna do a whole run through of this in a bit. Maybe like 30 minutes, so it still might be a while. But yeah, if you have any questions, if anybody has any questions, as always, just throw them in the chat. So this section I'm going to check in with the metronome to make sure that it's right, because there's a lot of tempo changes between 60 and 72 again, so I need to make sure that I'm beating that. So this is the 72. Okay, and 60. And back to 72. Excellent. So those were two of the spots. Oh, one other spot that I want to, maybe two other spots that I want to check in with. Ugh. This is a 30-second notes that start slurred, and then there's a few of them that are tongued at the end, and trying to get the tongue in there is tricky. So this part is sort of quasi-glissando. It's hard to say. I think there could be a pretty strong argument made that this should be like clear chromatic runs with like precise. But I'm adding a little bit of like glissando schmear to it because I don't know, because it's fun. Because why not? I feel like this part is like really crazy explosive, so might as well. And also I think, because there's so many passages in here where it has that like fast as possible marking, I think he very easily could have written this out as 30-second notes or fast as possible, and it would work. So I feel like the notation I'll show you, it's this part at the top with the little straight lines going through from note to note. I think that's an indication that it should be a little bit up to how you feel like moving between those notes. every time I practice this, and really every time I practice anything fast, I'm always reminded of the fact that it always works so much better when I'm really thinking about getting all of the notes. If I ever think just like blah, blah, and get that fast note freak out, it's just never sounds good. And I think even to the listener too, like the listener doesn't want to hear blah, blah, blah. They want to hear da 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 da. If you can hear like precise notes and precise rhythms, even when it's not quite a precise rhythm, it's just like as fast as you can. I think it's still so important to get all of the notes, and it makes it feel more comfortable and confident playing it too. So I'm going to continue working on that. I'm going to do this with a metronome too, because this is 96, which is almost the fastest tempo in the piece. Let's see, 96 times 2 would be 180, 196. This is almost the fastest tempo in the piece, so I've sort of just been doing it like as fast as I can again. But let's see what the actual tempo is. Okay, so that's a few of the 96 parts. I'm going to go back and really get the one that I was trying to get. Yeah, I think this part isn't quite there. I need to do more slow practice. Yeah, part's tricky. Okay, I think I don't want to do the slow practice on that today because my brain is getting tired. So I think I'm going to wrap this up with a full run through of the whole piece. This is another sort of important part of preparing for the performance. So the concert that this is going to be on at the end of October, the sort of theme of the concert is like these companion pieces. So we're taking pieces that have already been written, pieces that exist, and then composers are writing companion pieces to go with them. So the companion piece to this is going to be another long solo piece that's going to be quite challenging. I don't have the music for it yet, so we'll see. Hopefully it's not too terrible. But it's gonna take endurance. So it's great to get comfortable and confident playing this when I'm tired, because if I can do it when I'm tired, then hopefully I'll be able to do it in the performance. Okay. I'm also going to stand up for this so that I get practice doing that. So give me a second to adjust the stand and such. I also want to do, I'll probably talk at the concert before I play this, so let me practice that a little bit too. So this piece is contemporary. It's the idea that Berio had when writing these sequenzas was to take pieces, write a solo piece for the instrument, and sort of push the limits of the instrument to sort of its extreme, and like make it so that. Sorry, hold on, I'm still adjusting camera stuff. Let me try. I'll try putting it actually in the tripod, and then you might actually be able to see all of. Okay, it looks like we're still going. Let's see. Okay, now I just have to make it so you can actually see my face. Yeah. That's nice. Maybe if I do these streams in the future, I'll just have the angle be like this from the start. Although it might be hard for me to see the chat, so we'll see. Anywho, okay, Berio, the sequenzas. Berio wrote a sequenza for lots of instruments, almost every instrument actually. This is the 9th one. I think there's 15 or so, I'm not sure about that number. But he wrote solo pieces that were designed to sort of push the limits of the instrument and see what is possible for the players to do. And the companion piece that is being written is kind of doing the same thing. It's going to sort of push the limits of the instrument. So that's going to be hard. So I need to practice performing. But with these contemporary pieces and contemporary music in general, sometimes it can be hard to listen to because it's not like our standard classical music, the Mozarts, Beethoven, even Bach. Those pieces have sort of inherent rules that we're really familiar with. They have sort of the 8-bar phrase, melodies, harmonies, rhythms that we're really comfortable with and familiar with. Partially doing a solo piece also, and a contemporary solo piece, makes that challenging to get across because it's just one instrument playing. So there can't really be harmonies. There can be melodies, but they can't go together. And in classical music, we hear these standard forms where we have a melody and then the melody comes back multiple times later. And contemporary music sort of moved away from that. And on a solo instrument, me just playing the same melody over and over is not so exciting. You can't move the melody and change the orchestration. So when listening to a solo piece and a solo contemporary piece, you sort of have to learn the rules of the piece itself. For me, it's a little bit similar to listening to opera, where I find the more that I know about an opera, the more interesting it is to listen to. And it's the same thing for this kind of music, where the more you know the sort of rules of the piece, the more interesting it is to listen to. So in a very advanced listening way, this piece has some interesting things that I think it was Berio himself describes them as harmonic fields, where there's sort of these harmonies happening of groups of notes. It's not like traditional harmonies where there's the tonic and the dominant, but there's just like this F sharp D, A, D sharp, C sharp, C, G sharp harmony that's happening. And that's where we get a lot of the little is sort of to set up the harmonic field that is coming up for the next bit of sort of melodic material. And then there's also lots of rhythmic contrast. And if you listen very advancedly and closely, you might notice some patterns where one rhythm happens a certain way, and then it sort of rotates around and we move through like triplet, dotted eighth, 16th, eighth, and then it's dotted eighth, 16th, eighth, triplet, then eighth, triplet, dotted eighth, 16th, and there's sort of this rotation of the different rhythms, which again is really complicated to hear on just the first listening. It took me actually learning the piece and playing the music and reading some analysis online to notice these things and start to pick up on them. The thing that I think is potentially the easiest to pick up on is the dynamics. I think the clarinet has always been famous for its wide dynamic range, and I think that's one of the things that Berio was really trying to push in this piece, is the extent of the dynamic range and the extreme contrast that you can get. So that's a really enjoyable thing to listen to. And last but not least, if you just want to watch me struggle through playing this, then that's another pretty entertaining thing that you can watch too. And let me just check. Okay, I don't have too much water in there. I think I just swabbed out, so let's give it a go, see how it goes. This is a very rough draft run through, so enjoy. And that is that. Yeah, this piece is it's hard to play all the way through, especially after practicing really hard on it for an hour and a half. But thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. I hope it was fun. Let me. Okay, there we are. I accidentally locked my phone pulling it out of the tripod thing. But yeah, does anybody have any last questions before we wrap up the stream? I hope you had fun hanging out. Yeah, it was a lot of work, a lot of good practicing though. And of course, thanks so much for watching the stream. Even if you're watching a replay now, that all really helps the channel to grow and to get that watch time that we're going for. I think there were at least 3 people who, I'm assuming it was the same 3 people hanging out the whole time, but we had at least 3 viewers the whole time for an hour and a half. So, or 2 hours? Yeah, we're a little over 2 hours now. I can do math. Yeah, so that's awesome. It's really helps the channel to grow. And once we join the YouTube Partners program, there's some different features that are available. And the most exciting thing is that I can like make $1 a month from ads on the videos. But yeah, thanks so much for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked this, definitely hit the like button so I know that it was enjoyable, and I will certainly do more of them even after we hit the watch time and stuff. I think it could be fun to continue doing these, especially when I'm working on something interesting like this. It might be fun. And yeah, I'd love to hear all of your questions. So also, even if you're on the replay, feel free to ask questions, post questions in the comments, and I'll definitely reply to those. Yeah, Richard says thanks for the concert. Yeah, I'm glad that you found that helpful. And how I use the tablet. Yeah, I actually got this iPad specifically for this piece because it's 10 pages long and there's nowhere to turn the pages. So I would have had to have like 6 music stands to hold the music and like walk across the stage as I was playing it, which sometimes is fun and cool. But I figured there were other reasons why I wanted the iPad too, music-wise, because it's so convenient to just have all the music in one place and not have to dig out books and stuff. So I figured this would be a good excuse to go for it. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you on another one of these, or of course in the regular Saturday uploads or Monday live weekly warm-ups as well. Those will always continue. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you.